Hey STRU friends, this is your personal invitation to co-invest alongside me. If you haven't heard, I've launched Stomp Capital Short-Term Rental Opportunities Fund, where I will be personally investing all of my short-term rentals going forward. And if you're an accredited investor and you want instant diversification and you want to participate in the best ideas that I identify, you relate to all of my teachings and the uniqueness and the sense of place and all of that stuff, then please click on the description below and find out more about Stomp Capital short-term rental opportunities. The best is yet to come and we're literally getting started. I would love to have you alongside, so let's go.
Hello. We are back with the STRU podcast. Whoop, whoop. I am here with the incredibly brilliant and handsome Richard Fertig. Hello.
Hi, sweetheart. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
Yeah?
Real good.
Nice.
Lots going on.
There's lots going on.
Welcome to the STRU podcast, your #1 online hosting community, helping you achieve your goals through short-term rental investing. Now, here's your host, Richard Fertig.
So, what's the latest and greatest? What have you been working on?
You know, I would reverse this and say, what have we not been working on? I've just, it's a really interesting time, filled with an incredible amount of opportunities, and I'm incredibly I can't speak. I'm incredibly grateful for that. The world is upside down. We've got
Holy
the Delta
smokes.
variant and COVID and kids back to school and vacations. And, I've never, unbelievable, in my Facebook feed, the number of people that are like one step away that have passed away, ranging in age from, 20 to 50. I've never experienced anything like this, and it's really quite scary. So I just want to take a moment and, say that while I have an incredible amount of things that we're working on and we're really grateful that the world is in fact upside down and it's scary out there, and I just want to acknowledge all of that and not be tone deaf or insensitive to it.
I couldn't agree with you more. Yeah, I'm really I'm glad you said that. I'm glad that you acknowledged that. It feels like an uphill battle. I am blessed beyond measure. I have a tremendous amount to be grateful for sure. But to your point, it just there's a lot of darkness.
Yeah, it seems like nobody's at their best, and a lot of people are scared and anxious, and with reason.
Yep.
And so what I would say is the purpose of this short-term rental university podcast is not to dwell on that fear-based, but rather give some optimism and opportunity and outlook and discuss what it is that we're working on. But before we do that, maybe we should share that we're not entirely unaffected by all of this either. Like, why don't you bring people up to speed? And for those of you that are short-term rental specific and focused and investors, and this is what you're here for.
Yeah.
Just give us a minute. We're going to get there.
Yeah, we're gonna break it down. We're gonna get real for just a minute, and then we're gonna circle back.
But
to
tell our lovely audience here what happened.
Yeah, so we went to Florida. We went to Florida because we have a midterm rental. It was so close. In Palm Beach, and oh my gosh, I love this house. So I was really looking forward to it. We were going to be there to begin kind of the two-step process, I would say, of getting it prepared and ready for our renter. And we were in Palm Beach for a few days, and then we took like a 2-day trip to Miami. And then from Miami, we went to Jackson Hole. And for, again, a 2-day trip for business and super
a big announcement. Just put it that way.
Yeah. Super exciting. And in Jackson Hole, I definitely noticed that I was congested. But there have been a tremendous number of fires that have been going on kind of in the area. And so it was really, really smoky to the point where when we flew in, the sky was brown. So I think, we kind of chalked it up to smoke in the air or, common cold symptoms, but didn't really give it much thought at all. And then,
I should just state for everybody, in case it's not obvious, we're both fully vaccinated.
Yes, we are.
Right?
Yeah.
So both fully vaccinated, have traveled the world through COVID and been intelligent and social distancing.
I mean, we've taken more
sanitary,
COVID tests.
Yeah, we've taken more COVID tests than anybody. We've supported the entire industry.
Yeah.
So, we're not dummies by this,
Totally.
but we're also not, living our life scared. We're doing what needs to be done, whether it's seeing family or friends, just in an intelligent fashion.
Right. So, anyway, we actually got back to Palm Springs and
Palm Beach. She can't keep her palms together. I mean, what a problem to have. It's like short-term rental investing is amazing. We've got so many palms.
Neither one of us can speak. Okay, so we returned to Palm Beach and we were out to dinner and, we were seated outside and, it's one of our favorite restaurants. And I kind of looked at Richard and I said, "How's your dinner?" And he said, "Great." And I said, "Okay." Because I can't really taste it. So then I proceeded to take a big chunk of chicken and dip it in hot chili oil, which should have burned my face off. And it didn't. I didn't taste anything at all. So that was definitely the first red flag. Went home, took my perfume bottle, kind of put it up my nose, didn't smell a thing. And that kind of sounded the alarms. Next morning, we went and got tested. And we both tested positive. Both tested positive for COVID.
Yeah. And what I would say is, then we were quarantined and didn't leave. And so we were quite fortunate to be very, very comfortable in this place that we were setting up in Palm Beach, and easy to get, food delivered and left outside. And so we were totally responsible and
also went through, the whole process of notifying anybody that we had been in contact with. And I mean, so fortunate, so grateful that none of them had symptoms and everybody came back saying, we're good to go.
Yeah, and what I would say is, fortunately, we were in fact vaccinated, so the symptoms, while they were far from pleasant, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody, there was never a time where either one of us felt like we needed to seek medical attention or go to a doctor or anything like that. It still sucked, and it was...
well, it still does.
Yeah,
I mean, still can't taste. I still can't smell, which for this girl is a curse.
Right. This is like... next to her favorite pair of sneakers being sold out, not having, food and that excitement is really, really bad. And I feel terribly for you. For those of you that are wondering, the older gentleman still here has taste and smell and so on.
He's bounced back.
Yeah, we've recovered, and we're really grateful for that. And I don't want to minimize it. So for any of you that are listening or watching this podcast, if you have yet to be vaccinated, we would encourage you strongly to do it. This Delta variant thing is incredibly fast spreading and much more contagious. And people with vaccines, their antibodies are being reduced, which is why there's third boosters now being approved. So we don't really want to spend an incredible amount of time.
No, and the other thing that I would say is sadly, I don't think we're in the clear yet. What I would just say personally is once we became vaccinated, I became very lax in not necessarily washing my hands, but with like the antibacterial, gel, and just my awareness became much more casual. And, I personally have chosen to kind of amp up, my hand washing, and, in certain situations I am wearing, a mask, and, just, and, doing the hand gel sanitation, and, yeah, I think my awareness has just, kind of peaked back up, and I am, I don't know, just taking better care.
Yeah. So if we can motivate people like Logan, who's here filming, is not vaccinated, is going to get vaccinated this week, that would be great. And just realize that it's not over, and there's now a third wave, and that has implications for us as short-term rental hosts and entrepreneurs. And there seems to be a fair amount of chatter in the Facebook group about seasonality versus vacancy versus what to do. And, here's my personal take on all of this. I think that vacancy is our friend. We should use it wisely. So whether you have unexpected vacancy in August or in September or October, be intelligent with it, right? Whether it's doing the repairs or the maintenance that you've wanted, or personal use and satisfaction, and go and enjoy your asset, go and enjoy your investment, or start to think deeper. Use the time where you're not running around and taking care of guests and hospitality and check-ins and check-outs and your cleaning teams and all of this and that, to encourage everybody to recharge, encourage your cleaning team to recharge, encourage your property manager, your handyman to take time and be with their loved ones, right? They don't necessarily think forward. They might be more task-oriented, day-to-day, hourly employees, just, going through the grind. But part of our responsibility as the host, entrepreneur, leadership of the organization is to have a bigger picture, a broader mandate, and to make sure that the entire team is resting and recovering and knows when they're going to be called back into duty. Right. And as far as investments are concerned and vacancy and so on, it's too soon to tell, but I don't anticipate another round of lockdowns. I think that's something that we saw in the past, and I don't foresee happening. And I hope it doesn't really happen. I just hope that people are intelligent and responsible and vaccinated. And I think ultimately this thing has to run its course, and we have to run our businesses. So I do believe that the worst is behind. I always believe the best is yet to come. I'm not slowing down my exposure or my interest or my investment into short-term rentals. In fact, we're accelerating them at an accelerating pace, and there's a lot of really amazing and exciting things happening. And so if you can gain any sort of confidence or conviction from my longer-term view, right? So in a nutshell, COVID is awful. It's been here for, call it 16 to 18 months to date. Maybe it's got a total of 18 to 24 or 36 months, but it's not going to be here for 36 years. Right. And the investment opportunity for short-term rentals has never been better. I've never had greater conviction. I've never seen more writing on the wall. I've never seen institutions one step away, as we're seeing right now, and the stuff that we're teaching in the cohort-based class. So I am doing my best to rise above, to see the forest through the trees, to take a long-term view, opportunistic view about the investment opportunity. And I couldn't be more upbeat, optimistic, excited, raising money, doing all sorts of things, because I'm pounding the drums and circling the troops and whatever else one does in these scenarios. Right. But it's on, and I'm really, really excited.
Yes. Amazing. And on a much smaller scale, I am taking this time to do a 5-day liquid cleanse.
So there's that. What I shared with Erica is, for the longest time, she's really, we share a lot on these podcasts for those of you that go in depth with us. So she's always had this battle of her self-image. I happen to think she's beautiful and adorable and gorgeous and madly in love with her. And I think she's crazy. But that doesn't prevent her from, self-loathing and hatred and, wishing she was a size smaller and all these other things. So I basically tried to reframe the negative of the fact that she can't taste or smell. I was like, this is exactly what you've been dreaming of for the longest time. You wish you were less food focused, less food oriented, less food motivated. And now here it is. Your wishes come true. So let's take advantage of it, which means that she's now doing some 5-day cleanse, which, I'm really excited to see what emerges coming out of it. I think day 3 or 4, we're going to have an ornery, blonde giraffe that I'm cohabitating with, and I'm just eager to give the animals some food, please. They've gone wild, but we'll wait and see. But turning this thing back to short-term rentals, it's really kind of amazing from where we sit. We've now gone through 2 cohort-based classes, so there's about 70 some odd entrepreneurs that have gone through this.
Cool.
The breakthroughs and the excitement and the interest in what we're teaching about short-term rentals 3.0 is incredible and fantastic. And
I can't get over the engagement. I mean, I think that is truly what is, obviously I'm one step removed, but just what.
Well, you're not. You actually taught the last one or a portion of it.
I do. And that's really fun. But what I would say is that, So 2 things. One, I am also not immune to the state of the world, because I was really bummed at how I showed up on the course, because I was just kind of I don't know, not soft. It wasn't great. It wasn't my best. Anyway, so, we all have our moments, right? So just, we all have to show that element of grace and forgiveness and love, and just, know that tomorrow will be a better day, a do-over. But
well, I thought you did great, and so too did the cohort, because you got lots of accolades and people asking for more, and people wanting your own course on sort of hospitality and event planning and value-added services, and STR 3.0 with bespoke hospitality and ways to monetize all of these value-added services and so on. So you did a great job.
Thank you.
Not only do you do a great job as director of hospitality, you do a great job teaching these host entrepreneurs on how to do it themselves, and they want more.
But it's really fun. It's really fun. It's really fun to see all of these faces, on, the camera, and them asking questions and raising their hand, and it just being so, just the engagement, and it being, not just kind of, sitting up there, speaking and hoping that it's resonating, hoping that you're reaching people, hoping that, that it's valuable. But they're just, it was more like a conversation. It was more like a group of friends coming together and just
that's the community.
Yeah.
And the thing that I would say that's even cooler from my perspective is, because I kind of designed the course to have that sort of level of engagement, and people are a little reluctant on day 1, but by day 2 they're more, and day 3 and now we're in the middle of the second session right now, and people are all in, and what I was going to say is that's remarkable is the amount of time and energy people are putting into their homework and taking this seriously, and people are coming out literally completing the cohort-based class with an action plan of where they're investing, where they're investing, or where they're investigating to invest, desiring to invest, exactly what it's going to look like, what they're doing, what STR 3.0 is, what's going to differentiate them, what's going to, create that sustainable, repeatable moat. And it's really, really rewarding. And then from my perspective, and we haven't really announced this very well, we're going to film a video on it too. But one of the really cool things about the cohort-based class is that I'm using this short-term rental seat that I sit in at STRU, the perch that I have overlooking, 55,000 YouTube subs and 38,000 Facebook people and, countless hours of podcasts and so on. I'm using this influence, if you will, to surround myself with the best entrepreneurs and the best hosts and the best ideas. And in many instances, the people that are coming through the cohort-based class, and if you're listening and this applies directly to you, this is encouraging you to follow up, seek capital, right? So they're not idea constrained. They're not limited by geography or opportunity or anything like that, because it's so massive right now where we are in the short-term rental life cycle. There's just so many incredible opportunities that these entrepreneurs are easy to find that. We go through the cohort-based class. They understand where to position themselves, what STR 3.0 looks like, where to go, where to find it, and they've got all that. But what they are is capital constrained. And I'm here to share with the entire podcast right now that we are launching Stomp Capital Short-Term Rental Opportunity Fund, which is investable for any of you that are accredited investors. It's not my rule, it's the SEC rule, but we play by them. And basically what that means is if you make $200,000 a year and you're single, you qualify, or if you're married, you and your spouse have to make $300,000 a year, or there's an exemption based on net worth, which is that you are worth $1 million or more, not including your primary residence. So a significant number of the audience at Short-Term Rental University, since we're buying, hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars of real estate, are in fact accredited investors. And if this is of interest to you, I would encourage you to please sign up on the wait list. We're launching that on September 1st, maybe even before this podcast comes out. I'm not sure. But here's the point of all of this. Part of Stomp Capital.
Wait, drum roll.
Is that the one more? Ladies and gentlemen, my favorite drum roll. What I would say is this. As part of Stomp Capital Short-Term Rental Opportunities Fund, we've written into the legal documents that we will be joint venturing, partnering, co-investing with graduates of the cohort-based class so that we all are aligned. We know where we're going. We know what the future looks like. We know what type of investments we seek. We know what type of opportunities are going to work in the future. And so as these host entrepreneurs come out of the cohort-based class and have graduated, we're creating a Shark Tank-like or Y Combinator-like mentorship and JV co-investment platform that will actually go into the Stomp Capital Short-Term Rental Opportunity Fund. So about 20% of the money that we have, that we will raise, will go to the STRU cohort-based class, graduates, entrepreneurs, and I have this incredible opportunity because I get to see work ethic, quality, ideas, thinking, follow through. I mean, all of the things that you would want to do when you contemplate making a joint venture or co-investment. I'm sort of in the captain's seat, looking at all of these things and determining which of these ideas are the best and the ones that we want to partner and invest in, and then mentoring and growing these hosts and entrepreneurs. And we do this for a variety of reasons. One, because I really want to give back as much to the community and grow every one of the listeners, followers, subscribers, and especially the people that invest in themselves and go through the cohort-based class. And two, on a more selfish reason, I have an incredible opportunity to help grow and scale the Stomp Capital Fund and its investors and diversification and best ideas. And I can't do all things, but with my small army of trained host professionals who run their own business and I mentor, I get instant diversification, instant scale, and the portfolio is better for it. You've heard me time and time again discuss the merits of diversification. We're putting our money where our mouth is. And so if you are a host entrepreneur with great ideas and you want to grow and you want to scale and you'd like to be mentored and partner with me and Short-Term Rental University and Stomp Capital, then it's incumbent on you to go through the cohort-based class, show me what you got, be your best self, do your homework, do all of the things that you would, try to do if you were looking for capital, and may the best survive, right? The winner takes all. We're going to have from each cohort allocations, just like the Y Combinator does, the spring cohort allocation and the winter cohort. So we're almost done with two of these cohorts. Cool. We've seen some incredible ideas that I'm really interested and excited by. And we're working through that. We have another cohort that's starting, I think it's in mid-September.
Correct.
Then we're going to take October off, possibly October, November off. So don't wait. If you've got some ideas,
September.
Get
Sign up for
involved in September quickly.
Yeah.
If you are an investor and you really want short-term rentals, but you want them done for you by me, or you want instant diversification, or you want, to put a fraction. Let's say you're saving, $200,000 for a down payment, but you don't have 200,000, you have 50. This allows you to have exposure to the asset class without having to go out and buy a whole nother house and without having to add to your incremental daily obligations, right? This is purely passive. There are risks, of course, and there are fees, of course, and all of that is in the disclosure. I don't want to cherry coat this and make it sound like it's the best thing since sliced bread, but it's pretty darn good, and I'm really excited.
It's the best thing since sliced bread.
Well, you can't even taste bread, so we're not going to listen to you. In any event, so that's what's going on. Cohort-based class is kicking butt. We've gone through almost 2. We're about to launch the 3rd. If you want to be involved in it, get in there. Stomp Capital is literally... It's like the culmination of everything, right? So I was a professional money manager. I became a professional short-term rental investor and educator. Now I'm taking that knowledge and that investment thesis and this opportunity set, which is one of the best investment opportunities I've ever seen in my entire investment professional career, and taking our crowd-sourced capital, putting it all together, and launching Stomp Capital. And the very first deal that we're launching, we're raising...
Wait, do you want the drum roll again?
Yeah, I do want the drum roll. And one more. So we have yet to film a video or announce it anywhere, but since there is a little bit of a lag here on the podcast, I don't know when this is exactly going to come out, but we are under contract to bring Edge Camp Sporting Club to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, where she and I reside. That's our domicile. One of the best vacation rental markets in the world. Between 5 million and 9 million people go to Jackson Hole every single summer. World-class skiing. I mean, we live there for all the right reasons. People come visit there for all the right reasons. It's one of the wealthiest and most desirable real estate investment opportunities on the planet. And we are incredibly fortunate through all of the same things that I've been teaching you. Through relationships, we entered an off-market transaction to buy up to 35,000 square feet of development rights in a short-term rental overlay. You guys know I only invest in places where it's short-term rental legal. 35,000 developable rights in a short-term rental legal spot. Not less than 1 block from Town Square. If you dropped a pin on where you would want to invest, this is it.
Yep.
Friends, location, location, location.
Yep.
And we are going to do something absolutely spectacular and remarkable on behalf of myself as the largest investor in the fund and any of you that may want to participate and join. This is next level stuff, and it's incredibly complementary to everything we're doing here at Edge Camp in the Outer Banks. And we have grand plans for not only these individual locations, but also the brand itself and what we're doing and positioning with future Edge Camps. And so that is a preview as to what's to come for Stomp Capital. And it's just amazing, right? It's the culmination of everything, right? It's full circle. I was a professional investor. Then I started doing it on my own in a new emerging asset class, realized just what the opportunity set was and how important it is to take advantage of it. And we've launched Stomp Capital because I want as many assets as quickly as possible before the institutional capital comes. And the timing of it couldn't be better. We're launching right as we're starting to see news article after news article after news article with KKR buying billions of dollars of single-family homes for long-term rent, and Blackstone billions of dollars for single-family homes for long-term rent, and Blackstone partnering with Pulte to develop single-family homes for long-term rent, and on and on and on and on. It's like all of these things that I've been predicting are starting to happen, and while they're not in the short-term rental market yet, they are literally at the doorstep. They are one step away, and I want to front run, position in advance, buy all the right assets in all the right locations where it's legally zoned, create an incredible brand that somebody, whether it's a hospitality company or a sporting company or Patagonia or somebody says, this is unbelievable what you've developed here, and the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, and exit at a compressed cap rate at a premium. If we decide to sell. If not, we'll just clip the coupon and go happily along on our merry way. So lots of incredibly exciting things. They're all coming together at the same time. And wanted to share it with you all and hope that you participate. You know, if you're called to join the cohort-based class, love to see you there. If you've got ideas and need capital, then this is exactly what you've been waiting for. And if you have capital and don't have ideas or time or don't want to do it yourself and you want it done for you by me, I'd love to call you my partner. So come check us out at Stomp Capital. That's what's going on.
Doesn't get any better than that.
No, it's fantastic. It's simply remarkable.
Yes.
So what else?
We got a couple of questions.
Okay, hit me.
All right.
Not literally, but.
I would never.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see. So here we go. John Gray said that it's important to not just be in the right house, but in the right sector. Thoughts on identifying a great market, not just a property that runs well on Air DNA or has some successful STRs in the area. Multi-year growth looking forward.
Cool. So one of the videos that we shared in the cohort-based class is...
Do you want to know who asked that?
Sure. Who asked that?
Casey Goodard.
In the cohort-based class. There you go. Hey, Casey, how you doing? So one of the things that we did in the cohort-based class was I shared with the students a video where John Gray, I think he's now CEO or acting president, I'm not sure exactly what his title is, but one of the most, if not the most senior people at my former employer, the Blackstone Group, and arguably one of the best real estate investors in the world, discusses how they do it and what they do. And this is what we're teaching in the cohort-based class, is how we start with a top-down thematic approach to investing. So we want to be in the right asset classes. We want to be in the right sectors. We want to be in the right ballpark. And then once we know where we want to be, we go and we find bottom-up individual homes, assets, to express that view and that theory. And so that's what Casey is talking about, and that's what John Gray was discussing in this video that we did as homework. And what I would say is, this is what I have done for decades as a professional investor when I worked at Blackstone Group and as at Ramius Capital, is you have to have a forward view. You have to have a thesis about what the world is going to look like at some point in the future, and call it 5 years out or 10 years out. What are people going to do? What are they not going to do? What changes? And so by way of example, John Gray gives really clear examples about how they got into warehouses. They didn't just decide to start buying up all these warehouses all across, the USA. They actually wanted to buy warehouses because they thought e-commerce would be a much bigger deal going forward. And so they bought all of these warehouses because one of the things that e-commerce requires is physical warehouses to store all the stuff. And then they went out and from a bottom-up perspective said, we want, a warehouse within 1 hour. I'm making this stuff up, but I think you'll get it. We want warehouses within 1 hour of major metropolitan areas. So we want one outside of Dallas, one outside of Atlanta, one outside of Chicago, one outside of New York City. And then that way, companies like Amazon can deliver their prime service within a day or two because their warehouses are stocked in the right location. So top-down asset allocation, we want to be in warehouses, and our forward-looking theme is that e-commerce is going to be a more important role in 10 years than it is today, right? We already know it's big, but we think it's even bigger 10 years from now. So that was the investment thesis, and then they went and found individual buildings 1 hour outside of Detroit and everything else. So how does that relate to short-term rentals, Casey, and what can we do to position ourselves ahead of that? I've shared with you and everyone else in the cohort-based class, and I think in videos as well, that in fact, I created a video called "The World is Changing Right Before Our Eyes." So that's on YouTube right now. But basically, I read with great interest a lot of different press and articles and discussions from Brian Chesky at Airbnb, who seems to be saying a lot of the same things that I'm seeing and feeling, my hypothesis, which is that the world is changing directly before our eyes, and the way that we knew work, live, travel, vacation, recreate, and so on has been forever changed through COVID acting as an accelerant, meaning these trends were likely going to happen naturally over a period of time, but COVID has really made it much more evident, faster, accelerated it, and people are doing it now. So one of the comments that Brian Chesky shared recently I thought was really interesting is that Airbnb is no longer a vacation or travel business, meaning before COVID, I think everybody would go to Airbnb like, oh, we're going to take a vacation, we're going to go skiing, or we're going to go to the beach, or if you were traveling and you wanted to go visit Chicago or wherever, it was like, oh, we're traveling, we're going to go visit. It's a vacation oriented, not a ton in terms of business, mostly vacation. And what Airbnb is seeing and what I've been predicting and anticipating is the same, is that people are turning to short-term rentals for everything. Live, work, play, recreation, vacation, travel, short stays, midterm stays, long-term stays. In fact, the fastest growing segment of Airbnb bookings in the last quarterly report was 28 days or more. And so there's an opportunity, Casey, for people to get ahead of this trend. So if people want to, like, this may sound crazy, but I don't think it really is. You know, the way that we've lived historically is that we position our livelihood first. So where our job is tends to dictate where we live. And for many people, you know, you might grow up in a small community and then get a job there and live there and your family's there. And so like that's
Right.
sort of where you live. And then you take a week vacation or a 2-week vacation. But what's happening now is that people can pretty much work from anywhere, work remotely.
Right.
In almost every single business. And even if they can't work remotely 5 days a week, you know, maybe they work remotely 3 days a week. And so what that basically means is you have a 5-day weekend and, you know, 2 work days in the office. So you can literally spread your wings and go further, for longer, more frequently. And so when you're traveling in those environments, you're no longer on vacation per se. You might be traveling to go work for places where you find inspiration, excitement,
Right.
You're in a peak energy, you're doing the things that you want to do before work and at lunch and after work and so on. And so it just opens up a whole new realm for how people will use short-term rentals, whether it's on Airbnb or Vrbo or you book direct, it doesn't
Right.
really matter. It's just to say that pre-COVID, I think there was really homeowners and then long-term renters and they might live in like one place,
Right.
tethered to one place, generally tethered because of work and or family. And now what we're seeing is that whole thing sort of crumble and people can live wherever they want, work wherever they want for however long they want, right? Like that's a beautiful thing about short-term rentals is you don't have to commit. You're not signing a 12-month lease.
Right.
You don't have to say, I've never been to Austin, Texas, but I really like it. I'm going to move there for 12 months. I'm going to move all my stuff. It's like, you know what? In the month of October, I'd like to go be in Austin, Texas and check
Right.
it out.
Right.
And then in November, I want to be in Costa Rica. In December, I want to be in Park City, Utah, go skiing, right? And so like people are starting to change the way that they live and vacation and work and recreate. And it's a very long-winded way of saying, Casey, if you believe in that sort of concept, then it really opens up the opportunity to, well, what are places that people would find inspiring and filled with activities and things that they would want to do that are maybe, you know, if you believe that people are going to be working in their office for 2 or 3 days a week, that are 2, 3, 4, 5-hour drive from these major metropolitan areas, because now they can go for 5 days. You know, they couldn't go for the weekend. It's too far, but they could go for 5 days. So that's an opportunity. Or if you think that there's this more digital nomad, and we're starting to see digital nomad licenses. Costa Rica just announced one that you can have a work visa and you can be a digital nomad and you can apply and you can come spend more time there than the traditional, I think 90 days is all you can have in a visa. There's another country that escapes me right now, but like countries believe this is happening. Countries are trying to attract the people that are, you know, spending money and eating at restaurants and living their life differently. So it's a really long way of saying that we have to examine and think through the implications of all this. But I think there are very few people that really want to be tethered by like one location. Some do. Don't get me wrong. Not everybody's into everything I just described.
Right.
Doesn't matter whether everybody's into it. We're only appealing to the tribe that is looking for that, and then we want to give them what they want, and they can't get anywhere else, and that's a massive opportunity. So that's what we're learning in the cohort-based classes. Where are those opportunities and how to do it? And Casey, by virtue of the fact that you sent this email, I think a week or two ago when we solicited requests, you're going through the class now. I'm sure your eyes are more open, but I wanted to share it with everybody who's not going through the class and encourage you to go through the class. Yeah. Especially if you want capital to grow.
Totally.
How'd I do?
Cool. Great.
Thorough, right?
Very thorough. Very thorough. Awesome. Okay. Another question. What are some creative ways to come up with down payments for your STRs? Of course, we know we can use profits from other STRs to save up for them. But but this can take a long time. And would love to hear some more creative options to come up with 20 to 25% that would help us grow faster. And that is from Robin Webb.
Robin Webb. So the very first thing you could do, and we just touched on this earlier, is you could go through the cohort-based class, have an incredible idea, impress the heck out of me, and have me be your investment partner. That's probably the fastest and hopefully the best outlook. Let's just say, though, that for whatever reason you don't want to do that, or you don't want me to partner and grow you and mentor you and all of that, but you do want to grow in your business organically. You're right. You can reinvest all of the profits from your first STR into the second. That'll take some period of time because, we're not getting rich quickly here. This is not a get-rich-quick strategy. And by the way, anybody who tells you they have a get-rich-quick strategy, I would encourage you to walk out the door and leave. There's no such thing as a free lunch. But what we do here is long-term investing in real estate, and consequently, the organic approach does in fact work. And we've seen dozens, if not hundreds, maybe thousands of people in the Facebook group and the YouTube channel that have done just that. So that works. If you're looking for something faster and quicker, I would encourage you to find investment partners, whether they be friends, family, people that you know. But the opportunity before us is fantastic and it's great. That's why I'm launching Stomp Capital right now, is because there are more ideas out there than there is capital in the space, and that's rare, and that will be fleeting. 10 years from now, I guarantee you it'll be the reverse. There'll be a lot more capital than there are good ideas. So the next 10 years are really critical for all of us hosts, entrepreneurs, investors to go secure, lock down, lock up, create your moat around the best investment opportunities, strategies, locations, secure your tribe and build that moat. So if you don't have access to investors for whatever reason, then you need to network more, create your community, spend more time in our Facebook group, join the cohort-based class, and have 35 plus entrepreneurs that are sitting there looking for partners, peers, comrades, friends, people to discuss, bounce ideas off of, and that's happening all the time. Going back to your point about the engagement is phenomenal. Another idea, and this is a little bit further down the risk spectrum, but you could refinance your primary house. You could refinance your short-term rental. Chances are you'll be able to take some cash out. Assets have been appreciating. Interest rates have been decreasing. So general rule of thumb is if you can save a point, let's say you were at 4% interest and you can refinance down to 3%, or you were at 5% and you can refinance down to 4%. That's the general rule of thumb as to when financing and paying points make sense. So that's an option. Maybe you can take a home equity line of credit against your primary home. Again, these are riskier. I'm not trying to introduce additional risk into the equation because you're now taking on more debt. But if you have a lot of equity, and interest rates are at record lows, and we're staring at an incredible investment opportunity, I feel okay with that. It's very different than refinancing and going out and buying a fancy, flashy Corvette. Don't do that. But if you're refinancing and you're taking the money and you're reinvesting it in an income-producing asset that's likely to appreciate and is undervalued today, I'm okay with that within reason. So those are a couple of ideas.
Awesome.
The best one, I think, is
by
cohort-based class. Call me your partner and your mentor.
Yes.
That's a win-win for everybody.
Heck yeah.
So what else?
I think that's a wrap.
They're going to have to stay tuned for the next podcast?
Yes.
All right.
And it's going to be a good one.
They always are. It's so much fun.
I know, right?
All right, friends.
Hey, thanks for your time.
And hey, thank you for your time, too.
And your energy and all your knowledge and all of that. And
Thank
thanks.
you.
I mean,
Friends.
And seriously, the cohort-based class, I just think it's just next level.
It's fantastic.
It's so awesome.
It's been an
Really
incredible
cool.
ride, and we're just getting started, and they're each getting better. And
And stay tuned for Stomp.
Stay tuned for Stomp, and also
Keep an eye out.
Stay tuned. We're going to give you an update as to how Erica does with 5 days of cleanse.
Yeah. Oh gosh, wish me luck.
I know it.
Actually,
me luck.
wish you
yeah,
luck.
wish me luck. All right, friends, listen. Thank you very much for everything, your time, your attention, your energy, your excitement, your contributions, your feedback, your comments, your likes, your subscribes, all of that stuff.
And
The best is yet to come. Let's go. Thank you, guys.
So that does it for another episode of the STRU podcast. As always, all links mentioned are in the show notes below. And if you found this show helpful, please leave a review on iTunes. If you're serious about short-term rental investing, be sure to check out str.university. Till next time.
Hey STRU friends, this is your personal invitation to co-invest alongside me. If you haven't heard, I've launched Stomp Capital Short-Term Rental Opportunities Fund, where I will be personally investing all of my short-term rentals going forward. And if you're an accredited investor and you want instant diversification and you want to participate in the best ideas that I identify, you relate to all of my teachings and the uniqueness and the sense of place and all of that stuff, then please click on the description below and find out more about Stomp Capital Short-Term Rental Opportunities. The best is yet to come, and we're literally getting started. I would love to have you alongside, so let's go.